be done, so start whenever.
Sure.
A few years ago, a senator, actually it was a congressman, put in a bill that would require all vehicles manufactured in the United States to be equipped with a breathalyzer. Cost about $2,000 added on to the cost of your car. If you don't buy a new car, you still have to pay up. You're only grandfathered for 1 year. If you are caught without a breathalyzer in your older car, after 1 year, you will pay a stiff fine and still have to purchase and have installed a breathalyzer. Cost anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 depending on the vehicle. Your cost. Think that's a good idea? No. Okay, well, my job is to try to convince you that it is a good idea. When I was a junior in high school, I fell in love for the first time. A little girl named Steffi. Steffi was cute as a bug. Everybody loved her, including me. She didn't know I existed. The problem, however, was she lived right up the street from me. My parents knew her parents. When I went off to school at Texas A&M, Mom would write me letters and she'd be talking about Steffi. A couple of years after I got done school, she was no longer a part of my life. Mom wrote to me that Steffi had just gotten married. She married one of my high school classmates. His name was Rick. He was a football player. Now I know why she didn't know I existed. I wasn't. Another year later, I got another letter from Mom. She said Steffi and Rick had been in an automobile accident. They had been broadsided by a drunk driver. This kid, and he was a kid, was 21 years old. He'd gone out drinking for the first time. Did not know how much he could handle. Obviously, was not able to handle it. Rick was in the hospital for a couple of weeks. Eventually got out, was able to move on. Steffi was not. She was basically a vegetable. They kept her alive through feeding tubes and a few other little goodies that they do. The kid who did it to him, he got 6 months in jail and a $500 fine. Now, young people, and I'm not talking directly about you guys, I'm talking statistically, young people are 3 times as likely to cause an accident as any other age group, bar none. Half of them are alcohol related. Adults who have been drinking for years, they may be breaking the law. They may be fined, you name it, but they don't cause the accidents. They're used to being able to drink and drive illegally. They're able to control the vehicle. Young people are not used to it. They're not used to what alcohol does to you. Consequently, half of those fatalities, highway fatalities, caused by young people are typically alcohol related. That's the object of this legislation. Now, want a little bit of background information? Give you some examples. 2 co-eds from Brown University went down to Florida, spring break, had a great time. On the way home, they tackled an 18-wheeler. The driver of that car survived, but she had to live for the rest of her life with the knowledge that she killed her best friend. High school student, senior, one of the high schools in Houston, Texas. Star football player, quarterback. Full boat ride to the University of Texas. He went out to celebrate. On the way home, he killed a mom and 2 little girls. Not everybody dies as a result of a drunk driver. There is one girl, I believe she lives in Fort Worth, who's gone through 35 surgeries just so she could look like a monster. But at least she's alive. This isn't enough. There's one more example of a young man in San Antonio, Texas, who was out joyriding, drinking with a couple of his buddies, totaled his car. 2 of them did not survive. Now, when I was left A&M for a year, it was so that I could earn money to go back to school. My parents at that time lived in Washington, D.C. That didn't stop Mom from writing letters. I got a letter from her before I left Texas saying that Steffi had blessedly passed away. She had been on life support. When I left after working a year in Washington, D.C. to go back to Texas, I decided to go the circuitous route through Nebraska, which is where I graduated high school, to see a buddy of mine. Had a good time. Then I made a mistake. I wanted to see Steffi. I guess I had that wrong. She did not pass away at that point. I wanted to see Steffi. I did go see her. I wish I hadn't. What I saw was not the girl that I thought I was in love with in high school. It was a year after that I got the letter from Mom that she passed away. Now, here's my question. What's a life worth? If that kid had had a breathalyzer in his car, he would not have been able to start it. There would have been no accident. Steffi would be alive today. If that kid, or the co-ed at Brown University, had had a breathalyzer in her car, there'd have been no accident. She would not have killed her best friend. Same story with the high school football player. Same story with just about anybody who has eyes. They would drink too much, then get in the car and drive. Paid $36,000 for a new car. Just $2,000. $38,000. Big deal. You have a car that has to have one put in. Okay, that's fine. If you can't afford it, the government will pay for it. They usually do. But what's it worth? What is it worth? What's a human life worth? If one life could be saved, what's Stephanie's life worth? Is it worth $2,000? I think so. Any questions?
So with the breathalyzer, would it be like interchangeable? So